Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sort of a new thing that we've seen happen a couple of times already this year within Warzone and Modern Warfare 3 is these various things that I'd refer to as vaulting updates. This whole term of vaulting, I think, just stems from Fortnite. It's something they've sort of done throughout the years as they've seen updates where certain pieces of content and gameplay items become vaulted. They get put into the vault, they're removed from the game. They may return at a future point in time, but it's just a place where they can actively update things and change things as needed and remove things if there's balance issues or if they're, outdated for whatever the gameplay loop might be. And Call of Duty has sort of taken a page out of Fortnite's book with these and started implementing this for various different reasons. And within this video, I wanted to talk a bit about what these vaulting updates have done so far and sort of what to expect with them in the future, why certain things probably don't happen as I think a lot of us would like them to, and just in general what this means long term for COD now that they've sort of gone this route with certain updates. So obviously it's something that's actually happened a couple of times already throughout the year. We've seen various different elements of gameplay quote unquote vaulted. A couple of broken attachments have risen up in recent months of Warzone gameplay. Initially, the snake shots, the dual wield tiers with the snake shot ammo, breaking the close range meta, being the most dominant option in the game for any close range engagements. Those were broken for a couple of days, and then Raven said, hey, we know that the snake shot ammo on the tiers is insanely broken, so we're going to disable the snake shot ammo for this time period, and once we have a full fix out, then we'll reintroduce it into the meta. So they took the snake shot ammo attachment and basically made it so that, yeah, you could see it in your gunsmith, you can put it on your loadouts, but you couldn't use it in game. It was completely disabled in public matches. And then just recently they went through, they actually nerfed the snake shot ammo, so the damage is way lower than it was before, and now it's back in the game, so it's been unvaulted, of course. We also saw a similar thing happen to the Lockwood 300 Maelstrom dual trigger, which turned the Lockwood 300 into an absolute beast for close range as well. Basically a one-shot knock through like 10 meters as a shotgun, and shotguns should be good in their close range. They just shouldn't be the only option in the game for close range. So of course they also went through with that and they nerfed the dual trigger. They vaulted it, removed it from all the public match loadouts just like the snake shot ammo, and then it's been reintroduced now that they've gone through and heavily nerfed it, so it's not really an issue anymore. We also saw a similar situation, not with attachments or, weapon issues, but with the Gaia skin, the Evil Groot skin from MW2's Season 6 Battle Pass. It was basically invisible on certain maps in game. It was incredibly hard to see this skin or see players who were using this skin in certain situations. So they said, hey, you know what? We get this as a popular skin. Everyone's using it because it's hard to see. We're removing this skin while we update it, and we're going to change the look around so it stands out a lot more in game. It was missing for, several updates, quite some time. The skin was completely unavailable, and then just recently with Season 1 Reloaded, it was added back into the game and Groot is back. You can now use the skin yet again, but it definitely stands out a bit more than it did before. So directly, correlated to the Fortnite vaulting system of removing things here and there while they may need to be updated or potentially permanently, Call of Duty has begun vaulting certain things in game that are problematic. Here's the thing though, you think of, okay, we're going to remove things that are insanely broken. What about weapons just straight up? For instance, throughout the course of Warzone MW3 so far, the Interceptor has been an extremely problematic gun. Game breaking in certain situations. They did nerf it to at least balance it out some, but it's still been a go-to option for several weeks now, several months at this point. Really since launch, it's been the go-to choice, right? Things like the Wasp Swarm as well, like clear, obvious meta weapons that are well overdue for nerfs, and we know that things are going to be changing in the future and they'll be adjusted as necessary. Maybe even by the time this video goes up, there will have been some updates, hopefully, cross my fingers for sure. But, it's clear that there's been, overdue meta updates that we've needed that just haven't happened. And so you see things like, okay, the snake shots were so broken, they were vaulted. The dual trigger was so broken, they were vaulted. What's the deal with weapons? Well, here's the thing with Call of Duty. We know they love their money. Store bundles are always working. We might have game-breaking updates like Season 1 Reloaded, but you know for sure that store is working. You can purchase your bundles, you can get your new blueprints, you can get your operator skins. Those will always work basically flawlessly, and it seems like the store updates do happen very quickly if there are any issues whatsoever, right? And when you look at these different weapons, yeah, sure, there are a couple of blueprints that might offer snake shot ammo for certain builds or the dual trigger on certain builds from previous games, but then you look at just straight up weapons like the interceptor, for instance. There's been several bundles that have dropped featuring the interceptor with a decent meta build. There's been several bundles that have dropped with the swarm that offered good setups that players could use right away. If they were to go through and say, hey, we know the interceptor is extremely broken right now, we're not able to fully test a meta balance pass on it yet, so we're just going to vault it, well then guess what happens? They don't sell any of those bundles. That's a lot more impactful on things like the store sales and all those different blueprint options if it's a straight up weapon being removed from the game rather than just an attachment here or there. So in terms of expectations, well, it definitely seems like they're willing to use this sort of vaulting system to their advantage to balance things out quickly when needed here and there. From a larger standpoint, major problems that are, directly correlated to weapons in and of themselves might not be nearly as vaultable. I'm just going to make that up as a word here. I feel like it describes it appropriately, right? So expectations certainly should be, tempered here in terms of what may or may not be vaulted or removed in the future. I mean, I would bet money on the fact that we're going to have more broken attachments and more broken guns further on down the road as we see new aftermarket parts introduced with other seasonal updates, new weapons outright, other meta updates. Things are going to be busted in some way, shape, or form just because it's Call of Duty. It's a live service game. They don't get everything right the first time. And of course, as new things do become broken, as we potentially see other things vaulted in the future, I'll be covering that stuff right as it happens. So if you want to guarantee you're always up to date with COD, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. And while we're at it, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it as well. It does always help grow the channel. But vaulting in general, while it can be used for these specific things here and there, broken attachments, broken skins, whatever the case may be, also has a much broader meaning when it comes to the long-term future of Warzone. Obviously, Warzone 1 existed. I know, crazy statement, right? We had that throughout MW 2019, Cold War, and Vanguard. And of course, once MW2 dropped and we saw Warzone 2 launch, they vaulted everything from Warzone 1, including all the good information that we learned throughout Warzone 1 in terms of what works well, because then we spent the next year redoing everything. But obviously all the weapons from MW 2019, Cold War, Vanguard, that was all removed, and then we were just stuck with only MW2 guns. Eventually, we're going to see this happen again. While we are in this new era of Warzone here with MW3, it'll move into Black Ops Gulf War, then whatever follows that in 2025, 2026. Presumably, the next time we see a major engine update in the back end with COD, we're probably going to see another new integration, a new era of Warzone that ends up vaulting things entirely. So while we do have carry forward from MW2 to MW3, and we saw it happen in the previous version of Warzone between games where all the Cold War weapons were available in Vanguard and so on there will be another point in time where everything's going to be deleted from Warzone. All the weapons will be reverted, all your operator skins and whatnot will be reverted, and we'll start fresh yet again. The problem in, going the opposite way of that, if they never deleted anything, we'd get to a point in, 3 years where there would be 400 weapons in Warzone and 200 operators, and it's just impossible to actually keep up with that and balance that. There's no point in having that excessive amount of content, plus it probably kills the stability of the game and makes things much more difficult in general, right? So we're gonna get to a point where another major vault update happens that just wipes everything clean across the board. Now, like I said, that's probably not for a few years down the road, but it is something that'll happen again, just on a much larger scale than deleting the snake shots for 3 weeks. So it's an interesting route that Call of Duty has taken recently, saying, hey, we're just not going to leave broken things in the game until we can fix them like they have in the past with the DMR and other broken things, the FAMAS underbarrel shotgun and previous snake shots and whatnot, the doof. We were just meant to live with those metas and, as busted as they were, had to deal with it until they found a fix. It seems like now, though, for the most part, they're a bit more quick to react to somewhat game-breaking things, so long as they don't directly correlate to, sales or bundles or whatever the case may be. So a bit more of an insight into the vaulting system. I've always, noticed a couple of questions here and there about this and why it is that they're doing this now as opposed to in the past. So hopefully this details things and makes things a bit more clear for you. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you are up to date with all things going on in Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.